Hey everyone, welcome to the sixth episode of Random Cloud Chats powered by Learn to Cloud. And today we have a really interesting topic to talk about.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it'll be about our, different roles that we have held
hmm
and also it involves money, I guess.
Yeah. All I wanted to do an episode specifically on salary in general, but also just what goes around salary. Like,
Mhm.
when did you first feel comfortable with negotiating your offer? How did you go about getting like a promotion? Maybe interview. We can talk a little bit about what the interview experiences were for each role and stuff like that. But just general, like, kind of like money and jobs. Nothing like technical. We can do different episodes on that kind of stuff, but just overall just money and how much money we've made in tech. But sixth episode, so that means we're in a month and a half in, and as people can see, the setup's a little different here because we are in the same room together.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, it's been, I mean, to be fair, we saw each other less than a year ago.
Yeah, 10 months.
Yeah. So
10 months ago, yeah.
And I think that deserves like a little bit of pause for us to reflect on that too, because the fact that you're in New York City for, obviously for personal stuff, but also the main reason was for work.
Yeah.
So you're getting paid to essentially go to, what is it, like a hackathon or whatnot?
Yeah, hackathon, yeah.
Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure, yeah. So, yeah, I was supposed to be here for HackCon, which is in Rock Hill, which is, I think, 2 hours from here.
Yeah,
I believe so. But yeah, representing Twilio there. And while I was at it, I'm like, I should go see Gwen.
Yeah.
Because it has been, 10 months. And yeah, so here we are. I utilized, since I was flying to New York, I'm like, yeah, I'll spare some more days and be there for longer and see Gwen and do some, video stuff together.
Yeah, we knew we were gonna take advantage of at least getting like an in-person pod, and
Definitely.
I know you've been vlogging a lot, so you've got a lot of that going on. We did a stream yesterday, which is pretty cool. I just think like the in-person dynamic and that vibe is impossible to match over Discord. I mean, with us it might be a little easier just because we talk all the time and we know each other and like we're friends. But I feel like that kind of style without people who don't really know each other well it's just kind of difficult to mimic the in-person vibe. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool that you're here for work. It's cool that you're gonna do, like, you're getting paid to be here. Which where were you a year ago? Like when you were here in November, you were at,
I was at ECI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Couple job changes since then. But yeah, awesome. Also, we're not in New York City technically, we're in Queens. But yeah, I don't think we would have been able to pull this off in my old apartment, but it would have been super like cramped, I think, because there was a decent amount of space, but I don't know. this is definitely like a lot more space, and Rich has been staying with me. It's been great. We have Wednesday we have the Reactor event. We're doing like a tech meetup
in person
at the Microsoft New York City Reactor. And then we just have a bunch of just hanging out kind of days. We're gonna co-work on Monday, Tuesday at Microsoft, and then I'm gonna show you around there. Then we don't really have much more planned. Oh, tomorrow we're gonna hang out with my parents. Yeah, and today we're just gonna do this, maybe do another video and then chill. But anyways, mental health check.
Pretty good.
I haven't let Rishab be on the blind app since he's been here, so you should be at like a what are you at, like a 8?
I will say 8, yeah.
That's good.
That's 2 points up from last time.
Dude, so I finished finally moving and unpacking on Tuesday. So once that was out of the way, I was like, this is so much better. I'm a solid 8, 9. I found a gym that I like to.
Nice.
Get into the routine, and like 8, 9 solid for sure. I'm also on vacation. I took this whole week off. Back to work on Monday. So I've been trying to do like absolutely nothing except just, enjoy my time, relax and whatnot, things like that. So it's been great. So I think solid 8. To be fair, I haven't been keeping up with news on anything really. So that might also be why I'm at an 8. I haven't really heard anything though either. I feel like if something significant were to have happened, we would have found out some kind of way.
Yeah.
But
I think last night I saw something about contractors at
from
Google.
Where? Oh, Google.
only recruitment. So it's not like directly impacting us because we were discussing this, I think in the last episode when I had you, that from this point onwards we will only be discussing what's significant to us.
Layups or anything significant,
because we don't want to
get
have
paranoid
that,
or get stuck into that. Yeah, for sure. I haven't really heard anything on Microsoft. I mean, besides like, I think the number one thing I see on like social media and whatnot that it just doesn't, like, I see that this every day is the people talking about the budget cuts at Microsoft that people think it's excessive, whatnot, all that kind of stuff. Like, I think we cut like travel. I guess any non-essential. I don't really know how they're categorizing it.
Okay.
Non-essential budgets. They've like cut until the end of our Q1.
Okay.
I don't really have an opinion on that. To me, and this is different for everyone, but for me, as long as you're paying me the money that I need to be earning, I don't really care about travel. A lot of my advocacy has always, even before joining Microsoft, has always been just online because I know I can reach the most amount of people. If I want to travel, I can do that on my own, and whatnot. But my advocacy has always been just online video first, so it doesn't really impact me. I'm not saying that other people shouldn't feel like impacted or shouldn't like have whatever feelings they have towards that. It's just, it doesn't really make a difference in my day to day the way I carry like my career and whatnot. So I guess I can't really feel it. But yeah, that's the one thing I probably see the most. But besides that, solid 8 out of 10. I feel like we've already spoken about our weeks too. Have you been working on anything this week though, besides the travel and whatnot?
No.
Do you have anything to prepare for the
I do thing? Have. I think there are 2 discussions that Twilio is planning to have on the HackCon. So I have to read, research, do some digging around that. But other than that, I think excited about this pod finally in person. Excited about, so we haven't released one episode yet.
Yeah.
So that'll be going out soon. So excited about that. And other than that, nothing, work related. So I was off too.
Yeah.
I took the week off too and just been, relaxing, and Gwen is showing me around, trying different foods.
Yeah, we went. Well, so when you got here Thursday night, we went immediately to get Thai food, which was pretty great. We had some awesome crispy wings and pad Thai, and then yesterday we went out to just like shop on like 5th Ave.
Yep.
It's like Adidas, Nike, whatnot. Even though the only person that did shopping was me. And then we had some Mexican food there. And we went to Korean barbecue at night, which is an insane amount of beef.
It was
really good, but it was an insane amount of beef.
Like
it's like, what time is it right now? It's 11:30 right now. We probably finished eating around like 8 last night.
Yes.
And I'm still like, I don't want to eat today. Like, I don't have any space to eat whatsoever today. And then we have plans to get like, some Punjabi food. Tomorrow we're probably gonna have more meat because my parents love barbecue. Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Gonna be eating a lot of meat. But and then like we mentioned, we have some plans for the next week and whatnot. But you have a good amount of time here, dude. I think you came for like a good amount.
Yeah.
Like a week essentially.
Yeah, for a week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to take time off, definitely. So that's been our weeks. I've been off too. Like the serverless September stuff is like on the back of my mind because I know as soon as I get back to work on Monday, I'm like, I have to get on that right away because September's like what like 2 weeks from now? No, what is it?
Yeah,
like a week and a little bit more, 10 days from now. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be a busy month. But I'm excited, dude. I don't know how I guess the busy period is for like stuff at Twilio and advocacy at Twilio, but for the advocacy that I do at Microsoft, our busy times are just like September. Sort of September, October we have Ignite, November we have .NET Conf, December everything slows down. So that period is insanely busy.
Yeah,
back
to back.
Yeah, but I had been essentially taking time off like events with advocacy and just doing like doing the developer CLI work and that kind of stuff, more like upskilling kind of stuff since I came back from build, maybe since like mid-June. So I'm excited to get back onto the September comes and like just weekly events and stuff like that. I miss it, But I've seen it's more so like I can do it in like sprints. Like I can do it for a couple of like back-to-back months. I'm in the grind.
And then you need to, yeah.
Then I need some time off to like kind of plan stuff out anyway, and then go back to it. And like I like that routine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for it, and that's also why I'm excited for like the summer's ending. And then when the winter comes here, especially for me, it's like, and this is also why I think I could never live in a place that doesn't have seasons, because the winter for me is a big period of like slow down, stay in, get to work. Because especially the summers and springs and summers in New York City are just extremely social. Yeah. Like you can do something every day at the summer. You'll find something to do. You'll find someone to hang out with, which is great. And, you know, it challenges you to go out of your skin and go out of your way and, you know, do new things if you're someone who you consider yourself introverted. But it's balance, man. It's all about that balance, right? And now I'm like, oh, now I want to sit down and just get to work. But I've definitely enjoyed. It's been a great summer. Definitely enjoy that. And like with you being here with our event next week, it's sort of like a nice way to end that like summer. It's like, all right, then it's go time.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, do we have anything else we wanted to cover before we dive into the topic?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. We covered the event. We covered our weeks. Mental health check is done. So
yeah, this will come out after our tech event, right? Yeah.
Yes, this will come out after.
If you missed it, you missed it. But hopefully I don't have any planned for September, any of the upcoming months yet. But once I do, I'll make sure to keep everyone posted on socials and whatnot. Because I mean, those are fun. Like the last one, we had so much fun. Hopefully this one we have a good turnout too, and meet some new people and whatnot, and we'll try to record what we can.
Nice.
But yeah, let's dive into the topic. So there's a couple of things I want to like address with each kind of position that we talk about, but let's do like how we found the role, overall, just like how you felt during the interview process, and then the offer that you got and if you negotiated it, and then that's pretty much it. And then if you had any promotions during that role. So I can start. We'll start from like the beginning of our work experience right now. So I was 19 when I started working at the Apple Store, I think. The interview process was during holiday season, which for retail, that's when they go ham on hiring because they, you know, because it gets busy, especially Apple stores and whatnot. But it was like one day I applied online.
Okay.
And my resume had like nothing because that was like my first job, no college, nothing like that. Right? I was like, I don't know, I don't really know. But then I got a call. I think what helped me is that I said I spoke Spanish, and they have in the area where that store was, there was a lot of like Spanish speaking people. Yeah. So being able to speak English and Spanish was definitely like a bonus for me. And then I had the interview with one of the store managers first. It was two of us, and then, you know, I get asked to answer a bunch of questions, whatnot, and I felt like it was great. Again, I interview great always. So as I'm walking, and he was like, yeah, we'll be in touch, whatnot, to both of us. As I'm walking, he's like, where'd you park your car? And I'm like, I parked this way. And he's like, oh, I'll walk with you. And then the other person ended up going the other way. Okay. And then he's like, hey, can you just like stick around? I want to get you to talk to the top manager, I guess, who does like the hiring. Okay. Who actually makes the decisions and whatnot. It's like, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then I sit down, and then they bring out they bring out 2 more people. So it's 3 total, actually, managers. Okay. So it's like make it like a floor manager, then a store manager, then a store lead. I see. And I spoke with all of them in that one day. And then I got a call back like a couple of days ago. It's like, hey, we would love you to start, work with us, whatnot. I was like, cool, full time. And it was, I think, $15 an hour. Which, when you think retail, most people will think like it's minimum wage, which around that time I think was probably like $9. Oh, okay. So it was like $6. So it was and for that being my first job, and remember I was like, a kid I had no debt, I had no commitments, all the money was for me. Making $15 an hour was like, oh my goodness, that's insane. So I was super happy. And also the thing about the Apple Store, and I don't know if people know this, that you have great benefits. They have great benefits. You have health insurance. They're actually very flexible with your schedule. So, and because they understand that a lot of people who work in those kinds of jobs are like doing it as maybe like when they're in school, or something like that. So they'll be very flexible with your with your schedule and whatnot. And also like the managers there, all the managers that I had encountered, maybe 1 or 2 no, but like the majority of them were very like, I really did see a lot of mentorship in a lot of them. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did, because you're assigned. This might be different now, but this was the way it was back then. Is like you're assigned someone who's specifically sort of your mentor through your career at an Apple store. Nice. And then you have, I think, monthly check-ins with them, and they'll talk about like, okay, where you at? Because even at an Apple store, you like there's sales.
That's
there's
pretty
like
good for retail.
Yeah, there's sales, there's operations, there's like technical, the Genius Bar and whatnot. And I know like my first meeting with that mentor, her name was Sharon. Shout out Sharon. One of the kindest people ever that I've ever met. I was like, I want to get into like something more technical. That's all I know. Mm-hmm. And then 6 months in, I moved into like more of the technical part, and then that's where I started doing like more appointments and helping people with like iOS issues, Mac OS issues, things like that. But there was no raise. There was a lateral move. It was like a change in role title, but it wasn't a change, an increase in any kind of money or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And they had I was there for like a year and a half, so maybe I got a raise of like $1 or something like that, but nothing like crazy. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of typical for retail. You don't really get like significant increases. Yeah, and then I ended up. So it's funny how I left there, because I met my best friend at that job, and she always reminds me of like, remember when you rage quit? Yeah. So for those who don't know, rage quit is like when you get upset and you just quit and you never come back to a job. That wasn't how I really handled it, but again, I was young, so let's say I was maybe at 20 at that point, and I was excelling at what I was supposed to do. So like taking appointments, like on average they would want you to take like 4 appointments an hour. I would destroy that. I would take 8, 10, 12. Sometimes it would just be me handling all the appointments on the floor because it's like scheduling issues or whatnot, or it was early in the morning. Sometimes they would only have one person, but then you suddenly have like, especially on a Sunday. So I remember there were like Sundays, they're like, oh, we'll just have one person. It would be like, for example, me opening the store. And suddenly you have just a line of customers needing help because they're like, oh, it's Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. I can like, get help quickly. And I remember like I would be able to handle it all like nothing. And I had been in a role where I was like, I want to go, well, you do make like a move. I think they're called like, you're a technical specialist and then you move into like a genius. I think it's called juniors. Like a role change. And then there is a jump in like salary, maybe a couple of dollars. Okay. But you end up making more. So maybe if I was making like 16, I could potentially make like
18,
20,
19,
no, like 20,
20,
21, like around that. So it was a big jump, right? And I had applied for it like a couple of times, two times, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I told no, and I was like, I don't ever think I was given like a good amount of feedback that I could actually work on. Yeah, it was more so like, no, just no, we're gonna give it to someone else. And you know what? There's politics involved in all kind of jobs and whatnot. So I was like, whatever, I understand that. The third time, I didn't like how it was handled in terms of like the messaging to me, because they were going to reject me again, but like they kept telling me like, oh, we don't have an answer yet. And then I'm not gonna get into the details, but I had found out that they had already known who they're going to give it to, and it wasn't me. But what upset me the most was the way that it was communicated to me. It was just the information just wasn't held, even though I was asked. So at that point, I'm like, all right, they don't like, this is it for me. This is the end of the road from my journey here at this role. And I was upset. I was like, I don't like I felt like I was being lied to. If I look back at it, I was probably a little just upset, like, letting it get to me. And
I think it added up also because, it was multiple times.
Yeah, and I was also just tired of the role too. Because retail is very, and this is, I encourage everyone who, like, if you ever are in a situation where you feel like you should get frustrated at a person who's working retail, you shouldn't, because it's not their fault. We had a lot of policies that like we couldn't like just do stuff for people that even it might have seemed like common sense. We just couldn't, because like Apple had policies right now. So then the easiest thing for a customer to do is to get upset with you. I've had people like say like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, like this is ridiculous, stuff like that. Like, that takes a toll, even only after a year and a half. So I was tired of the job. I was tired of like being kind of like not told like what was really going on, and I was like, all right, I'm leaving. So it was like a Saturday. I remember that it was a Saturday, and I remember I've been telling my parents about like, I'm tired of this. Like, I feel like I'm being like not treated like the right way, why not? And it was a Saturday, and then my manager, who was in charge of telling me like how we're not going to give you the role, like told me, he's like, hey, I got something to tell you. I was like, all right, I already know this. And then he tells me, I was like, all right. And I was like, I only have one question for you. I was like, like, did we know about this beforehand? And he was like, yeah, we knew about this for a while. And I was like, why, when I asked everyone, just give me a solid answer, like I wasn't being told like what was going on? Yeah. And then he's like, this is just the way we handled it. I'm sorry. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm leaving. And then I just walked. I left. I had just started my shift too. It was like maybe I was doing like an 11 to 7 some kind of thing, and it was like midday. And I was like, I'm leaving this. I'm not feeling well. I'm gonna leave. So I left. I was pissed. I remember going home to my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm done with the job. And she was like, all right, let's go get some food. That's it. Because I don't know, your parents know you best, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously the next day I had on a shift, and then I had spoken to my manager. Was like, yeah, I didn't handle that the right way. I know that, but honestly, there was no way I was going to be like productive or like perform it the way I wanted to if I was here. I was just going to be angry, and I didn't want to like behave any kind of way with anyone who didn't deserve it. So, and then they were like, yeah, we totally understand. But then that same day I like gave my notice. It's like, I didn't have anything lined up, anything planned. I was like, I'm just leaving. I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. So I gave my notice. I gave a 1 month notice.
Okay.
So people think who rage quit. It's like, I left that day, but I came back and I gave notice and I like handled business the right way. But yeah, and then I left, and then I didn't have anything kind of lined up, but I just took a risk. It worked out though. But yeah, no significant promotion, no significant money increase. But I think the fact that I started at $15 an hour and not minimum wage it was like, that was already kind of like sort of like a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first gig.
Nice. Yeah. For me, so after graduating, I think we talked about this on the the help desk to cloud engineering roles podcast we did. And for me, it was, I was interning at a company as IT help desk, and then they wanted me to work there full time as technical support.
Yeah.
So the internship was not paid. So I worked there for like 2 months as an intern, and then they had an opening in technical support. So basically doing product support. And I think there was a 2-week difference between like my internship finishing, and then they reaching out to me that we have an opening. That I think I was really stressed
for those 2 weeks.
Because the conversations I had is like they were really happy with me. They loved my time when I was there as an intern.
Yeah.
And like they could see a potential, like I could see a potential there. And they saw that too. But the thing is, it was only conversations. I was not seeing, anything other than that. So a role that I should apply to, or they didn't have any opening at that time. So 2 weeks later, they reach out. They're like, we have an opening for you, and we would like to, interview you.
Yeah.
Because you still need to go through the interviews and stuff. And I remember, I think I told this story on that podcast too, but there were 5 people on the interview that were interviewing me.
It was like a panel, and you.
It was like a panel. So there was HR, and then like
it wasn't even
sales,
one by one.
Account manager. No. It was just one interview. They said you have to come for like an hour or 2 hours, and we'll see what happens. And I'm like, okay. So I still remember, and I know like I was kind of made fun of by my friends because I was in suit.
Yeah, I think you told me this.
Yeah, so I was in, like, I suited up, and I had like proper blue suit and showed up for
a tie and everything.
No, I didn't have. I had a tie. I got rid of it in the car.
Oh, you thought it was too much.
I was thinking, I'm like, it's too much. It's not, like a sales or like customer focused job. It is customer, but I was not gonna see them, right? It was on phone or emails stuff. And then I showed up. But the thing is, they were impressed that I was dressed so well.
Okay, that's good.
Like they were like, okay, because I know the feedback that I got from the HR is they had this feeling that I was serious about this.
That's good. That's good. First impressions matter.
They matter. Yeah. But yeah, sat through the interview, and we talked about like how I lied on my resume about SQL.
Yeah.
Like I knew some select statements, but I didn't know what they were asking.
Yeah.
So go through the interview. 2 hours later, they're like, "We'll, get back to you," but everybody had like positive feedback. So I go home and like received a call from HR saying,
How long did it take them to get back to you?
It was a few hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So the interview was like early morning, I think 9 or 10 a.m. And I went back, like had lunch and stuff. And then by 3 or 4 p.m., I knew like I got the role.
Nice.
And they're like,
right away.
When you can start. So for me, it was, as soon as possible.
Yeah, like right now.
Yeah. So it was a Wednesday, I think. And then I'm like, I'm able to start on Monday.
Wow.
To this point, I remember. So I didn't have work permit. So because I was still a student.
Okay.
You need a work permit to, be able to work 40 hours.
Yeah,
or at least you need to have an application that you have sent to the immigration. and then you're able to work for like 40 hours a week kind of thing. And that's what, the HR was worried about. She's like, I'm fine you starting Monday, I just need a work permit, or like at least apply within 2 days, so that we have like an application number due to the taxes and immigration stuff. I remember me and Misha, we went to the border.
Okay.
So border is really close where we were in Kingston.
Cool.
We went to the border, got my work permit the same day. It's not been done now. We were lucky. Like, we had an officer. She rejected us at first, and then we saw another officer. She's like, okay, I can do your work permit.
Wow.
Because I had the offer letter. And I'm like, I graduated. I just don't have the diploma.
Yeah.
But you can look at my transcripts.
Yeah.
But I have an offer letter. Like, it'll cost me a job if you can give me a work permit.
Damn, dude.
And they gave the work permit.
That's crazy.
We drove back. I sent it to the HR. And she's like, you're all good.
Can you imagine if that officer didn't take a chance on you and it was like,
yeah,
you get rejected?
So
twice.
3 of my friends went the next day because they realized, oh, you can get work permit at the border. So I told them. They were rejected. Like, they were told no. So yeah, shout out to that officer.
Yeah,
it would have costed me a job or like a later joining date.
Yeah. Or I mean, who knows what that could have cost? But like, I can't remember what podcast we were talking about this, but it only takes one person to be kind and to take a chance on someone else to essentially change someone else's life. So
yeah, definitely.
It's important to like reflect on those moments too.
Yeah. And for me, it was like, I have all the paperwork. Like, I have a job offer that I'm starting on Monday. I need this.
Yeah, there's no reason why not.
And that's why he was like, yeah, I understand this. And it's a necessary thing that you need.
Okay. So
yeah, I think I was making $35,000.
Oh, salary already?
It was salary already.
Okay.
It was $35,000 per year.
Okay.
Which was a big deal for me because, we talked about how I worked at a gas station, delivered pizzas. There was, $11. It was minimum wage at that time in Canada. And 35, I think, roughly translates to $15-16 an hour.
Yeah, so essentially we're around the same.
Yeah.
We were because so when I say quantities, I'm saying USD or like money. I say USD, you're talking in CAD.
I'm talking
we're gonna try to provide both. No, not both, to USD because USD is more universal. Yeah. So I think it's that for that first role we were making about the same, but you were doing when was that? What year was that?
2018.
So for me it was 20. I think I started December 2014. So I guess essentially 2015.
Yeah, I think $15
so a couple years
did make a difference.
Yeah, a couple years difference there. Okay. Did you have any negotiation? You were just like, all right, cool. I'm straight up fine.
So to be fair, I didn't know about careers in tech or anything like that.
Which
I just
most
knew
people
that.
Don't,
yeah, I just knew that I studied computer hardware and technical support. So this is my field, and I can do technical support for a product. I just need to learn that product, and 35,000 was a big deal.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
that's what
it's like salary. So it's a stable income.
It's like a real job, and I say like quotes because I think people have the perception of like if you're not doing a 9 to 5, like you're not a real job. But then like I have friends who are bartenders making like $100,000 a year. Yeah, and like that's not a real job. I'm like, what? Yeah, of course that is. Look at how much
they're making.
But the reason I say this is because having like your first gig be like a salaried gig, I think is like very interesting. But also, I think you and I were in sort of similar situations where we didn't have like a significant amount of debt around that time, like or kids to take care of, which a lot of people when they want to transition into tech or maybe start in tech might have already. Yeah, that's why when you say like, oh, I was making 35, when I say I'm making 15, like some people might think like that's not a lot of money, but to us it was a significant amount of money. Yeah.
It was a big bump from not living paycheck to paycheck. It's like you are gonna get this amount of money at the end. Whereas first I was relied on how my schedule looks at work and all of that stuff. But yeah, I think so 2018, I was 19 then.
Damn. That's good, like a good first move, being so young.
And the thing is, I think I was so excited about starting this is because I still had to graduate in June, like, with convocation and stuff, get my diploma. And I already had the job lined up before that. So I think that was really, a stress relief for me that,
was that gig for you the first time that you felt like, oh, okay, this is the beginning of my career?
I think
Do you
so.
think so?
Yeah.
I didn't feel that until I didn't feel that at the Apple Store or the help desk gig. I think I started feeling that into my sysadmin gig, but we can get into that next. Yeah.
So when I was interning, I think that was the moment that I realized, like, okay, I want to do, this for the rest of life, because, it was, you're sitting in an AC, right? You're looking at computers.
Yeah.
You're figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
That's always been, like kind of a dream that I want to do.
Yeah.
I've been doing, compared to,
Yeah, no, I get it. Which I think that moment and that feeling is very important, because a lot of people might work for years and not get to that, and they think that they can achieve that, which is very possible with tech. Like, oh, if I only land a tech job, like I'll feel like that's actually my career. Like I don't want to just work. I want to build a career and whatnot. So it's cool that for you that happened very early on. So after your help desk gig, so retail, I did retail, and then I jumped into help desk, and I did help desk for a year and a half. But I think my help desk gig wasn't making way more than. It was still hourly, but I was maybe like $17 an hour.
Okay.
So I left.
Like
I left the Apple Store making maybe like 15 or 16, and then like $1 or $2 jump to the help desk gig. But what came into play were there were like additional benefits, where there was like $1,000 yearly budget for like certifications or books, or if you wanted to go take a course on college, you could do that too. And what other? And I mean, there was always like, even the Apple Store had like health insurance, all that kind of stuff, time off, that kind of stuff. This other one did have that too. And then the help desk gig also, like for the amount of certifications that you took and you passed, you could put your name into like a raffle, and then there was a bonus that you could get as well. So if you ended up taking 5 certifications, you put your name 5 times
in a raffle,
and you increase
the better odds. Yeah.
Nice. That was cool too. There was that, and then they would also like pay for coming out to Boston and like nice hotels and that kind of stuff, because that company was based in Boston. But yeah, salary wise, it was hourly still, and it's like, I guess these additional things that you could consider like money benefits, perks or whatnot. But I did that also for a year and a half, and no promotions. There was probably like an increase, like $1, $2 kind of thing, like the yearly, but nothing significant there.
Okay.
After help desk, you went into cloud support.
Yeah. I do want to mention that while I was probation, so from like May till July, August, I kept working at the gas station till June, because I was like, so the first month was good, but I started realizing, like, what if I don't make probation? I don't know why I had that feeling.
You still have that though.
Yeah.
It doesn't
go
away.
Yeah.
No, I understand that.
So
you had 2 incomes.
Yeah, I had 2 incomes. It was just, I was working 2 shifts kind of thing. So like on weekends. But yeah, I wanted to point that out, because I was so paranoid that once I'm past probation, then we should full-time work at this.
That's another episode idea, imposter syndrome and how it's impact our careers, but we can use specific scenarios. It's because I know, like, I've also made moves because I've had imposter syndrome, and like I've selected certain jobs or not selected certain jobs because of it. But for another episode, that's a topic whole on its own, which we both still feel to this day. Like, we talk about getting fired all the time. Every single episode, I'm like, yep, I might get fired tomorrow. So anyway, that's another topic. So after help desk, for me, is the sysadmin gig. That was my first salary gig.
Okay.
I think
it was a different place.
Yeah. I left the help desk one, and after about a year and a half.
So same amount of time.
Yeah, same amount of time. That's around the time where I know once I'm a year in, I'm like,
you're comfortable, right?
I'm comfortable, but it's enough for me to be like, I want to keep doing this or I want to leave. Because at the Apple Store,
that's good. Time.
And it's also like, people ask like, a lot of times, like, when do I feel like I should be making a move? I was like, I think around a year you become comfortable and you can try to decide, like, if you want to keep doing this or you want to go move something.
Yeah.
The help desk gig, I don't know. The commute sucked. Like, it was like an hour and 15, and then I had moved, and my parents had purchased a home, and then we were all moving there, and then the commute was going to be over 3 hours just to get to this job that wasn't necessarily paying decently, and I got bored of the work because it just wasn't as challenging, and that's when I applied to that sysadmin gig, and the interview was was like a no phone call, so no screening. It was just straight up because it was a small like 40 people, 40 employees, I think.
Oh, okay.
So they just call like, hey, come in. Like the hiring manager just called them. Hey, come in. We'll like do an interview. I was like, okay, cool. And it was with the hiring manager first. Like, shout out Chris. Like, you were one of the best managers I've ever had. We still stay in touch. Like, the reason that role really, and that time there and that time with him as a manager really changed my entire life. Like, and then again, I'm very adamant about there are people in your life that when they take chance on you, it can change like everything for you.
Yeah, definitely.
So the first conversation with him, I felt like it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I want to work here. I want to work in this role. It's like, I want to work on his team. I want to work for him. Okay. Because I just felt like he was going to be a fantastic mentor and whatnot. So we had a like maybe half an hour conversation. Then the VP of data engineering came in, had a conversation with him. And then the CEO came in. And then I had a conversation with him as well. And that was all in one day. And they were like, oh, we'll get back to you and whatnot. But I had already known, like, I felt like I did absolutely everything that I needed to do, and I felt great about it. So they come back with an offer. I think it was 50. I had asked for, I think, 60K, which was for me. Okay. I was just like, that was just like the most random number. I didn't know. I didn't have anyone to ask. I just went on Google and I searched for like what kind of like expectation, and the people were saying like 70, 75. I'm like, I don't want to like. I was definitely scared of like if I asked for too much. Yeah. So it's like I'd be like. I say 60 because if they give me like 50, 40, anything like that, because at that point I was probably making like 30, 35 grand a year, but it was hourly, right? I was like, if I make like 40, that would be significant. If I make 45, they come back like their first offer, I think was 53. And I was like, if you give me 55, I'm happy. Like 55. Okay. But for me, still 55 a year, I was like,
it's a bump.
Yeah, because I was like, oh,
it's a 20K bump.
Yeah, that was significant, and I had no idea what I was doing when I was asking for the offer. I was just like, F it, I'm gonna ask, and then it worked out. It worked out definitely great. So I started at that. At 50. I'm pretty sure it was 55. It could have been maybe like 54. I don't know. We'll just say 55. I'm pretty sure it was that. And then I did that gig, and was there for, I think, at that same rate for less than a year, because then I got promoted to cloud engineer.
Okay.
So the interesting thing about the promotion to cloud engineer was they divided the increase. So then I got some sort of percentage. I want to say around 30, because then I went from 55 to 75. Okay. 3%. But they divided it. They phased it in two ways. So we'll give you half of the increase immediately. Okay. And then half an increase in a couple of months. I don't know why, but then again, it was a startup. I'm sure finances, their books. I don't know. It could be, I don't know. Maybe they needed to report numbers and having like such an increase right away. I have no idea. Could be. Yeah. But I just say that as a heads up for people. Like, sometimes things might like not be immediate. I don't know. I really don't. I don't necessarily know if it was a good thing or a bad thing that happened anyway. But anyway, I do end up getting the number that I was promised. Yes, for sure. Like, that was not an issue. And it was when they said it would kick in. So that was great. So I ended up, being a cloud engineer. Well, I was essentially more like junior cloud engineer, making 75K. And I was, I want to say it was like 24, 25 at that age. Okay. At that role.
So how many years did you spend at sysadmin? 1?
Less than a year. Maybe like a year.
Okay. 9, 10 months.
Yeah, around that time. But I had been doing cloud stuff since the start of the role. Essentially. Yeah. Once I was fully onboarded and comfortable, so within a month, we were like, all right, we have stuff in Azure to get done, and we don't have anyone to do it. Like, do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah. And because they had a very dedicated software engineering team, they had a very dedicated data engineering team, and everyone was kind of doing their thing, but no one had the capacity to start doing the cloud stuff because they were all on prem and wanted to migrate. So they had some stuff in Azure, but they didn't have a dedicated person. And I had come in when I interviewed, I had like the AWS certified developer associate, and I was able to talk about a lot of things from there. And I said, I have a lot of interest. Like, I have no issue doing like sysadmin stuff, help desk stuff like that. But when there's free time, I would love to do more cloud stuff. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of that to do. So I had made that like very, very, and in the job description at the bottom, it says you'll be able to work on cloud stuff, like Azure stuff as we migrate and things like that. But that gig, man, that being at that company was towards the end. It was they acquired another company, and like it got like not as fun as it was.
Okay.
But it was just like your stereotypical like engineering like startup kind of thing. Ping pong tables, video games, movies on Fridays. Everyone would have lunch because it was like a small team. Like we'd gather around. We had one dude who was like a really good cook, and in the summers he would just do barbecues outside, and everyone would bring like stuff.
Nice.
And it was great. It was great. And the very much you going up to someone and just asking straight up for help was the environment.
Yeah.
And that's why like I'm so grateful that that gig was in person for me.
Yes.
And because I was just able to kind of just sit down and just watch other engineers do what they were doing, which I think was important. And I've sometimes I have questions like, okay, other people who are onboarding or like being new into their role in tech and like new in tech in general and not being able to be in person, like like it kind of sometimes it does make me sad. Like, I feel like you potentially could be missing out because I don't think we know how to properly do that remotely. I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm just saying I don't think we know how to do it remotely the right way.
No, I agree. Yeah.
So I ended there, $75K. And then I left the role making that much money, I believe. But they would also pay anything I wanted. They paid for my Linux Academy subscription, any books that I wanted. If I wanted to take the day off to go to like the AWS Summit or whatnot, they would let me do that. They were like super cool, and that's like the benefit of being on like a small company, small team. They're like, it's easier for them to see. Okay, if you go to this, it's gonna be like an immediate impact. There's no like, oh, submit this form. You got to do this. You got to like no.
Yeah.
Like just and especially if you're a good worker, they'll take a chance on you. Which was very much that. But yeah, $75K.
Nice. Yeah, I think for me the help desk to cloud jump was pretty significant. So I stayed around, I want to say a year, but it was, at like month 10, I knew like the transition is happening now to the cloud gig. We already talked about in the previous episode how I got it. It's like there was an internal opening, I did cloud practitioner, started learning about AWS because I think at month like 6 or 7, I kind of knew like, okay, this is getting repetitive. I like saw like similar cases. There were no such case that would like, stump me.
Yeah.
And I was already, so there were 3 tiers, tier 1, tier 2 support, and then tier 3. I was at tier 2 like in 6 months, and I didn't want to like, go into tier 3 because that's, dealing with escalation and stuff. So when I would escalate, I like saw like most of the escalations would go to the cloud team because there was something wrong. And that's when the like, interest came in. I'm like, what is this? I saw the AWS console. I started shadowing them, got the role at the end. The interview process was 2 interviews.
Yeah.
One was directly, with the manager. One was again like a panel of the cloud engineers that I already knew.
Yeah.
And during this time too, like when I was in support, the acquisition. So our company was 35 people.
Okay.
So, all those great benefits, ping pong,
Yeah.
food, and, we would have potlucks and stuff. We would have gaming nights, which was awesome. But yeah, so
Man.
like AWS.
Such a good time.
Yeah. AWS resources, like, or, if I need books, I had a Cloud Guru subscription that they paid for, my AWS Summit that I went to in 2018. So great perks. And then, since this was my first gig, it was really nice to have it in person. And like I was able to connect, with software developers, cloud engineers, whatever. After the acquisition happened, there was new management, and now the company is from like 35 to 40 people to like 500 plus people.
Yeah.
So a new cloud manager, I had a call with him, and he asked general stuff. He's like, we do have external candidates and stuff. The only like plus point or upside I had is I understand how we used AWS.
Yeah.
So like from like getting the data from the customer endpoint to like how it comes into AWS, how it's processed. I knew every service that we were using.
Yeah.
So that's the plus point I had, and I like he wanted to know more about that, and so I explained it pretty good. He's like, okay,
nice.
The next round is we'll all gather. The cloud team would be here, and then will just ask you questions. And so the first round was around 45 minutes. The second round was 60 minutes. And then we talked about, I think it was 40 minutes, but the only reason it went to 60 is because I spent 20 minutes talking about my project that I built on AWS.
Okay, cool.
They got interested in, and they're like, why you use this service, whatever. I had it on GitHub. They started asking questions about code and stuff.
Yeah.
Which was like, I was not so fluent. I just, Googled stuff and created a template, whatever. Yeah. It was fun. So I was making 40K now. So like after I went to tier 2, so after like 6 months, I got a bump in salary from 35 to 40K. And I'm like, this is great. And then the cloud gig, the offer was 50K. Okay. So I was happy.
What was the role title exactly?
It was cloud operations engineer.
Okay.
And advanced support, because
you're still doing the
so I still did support escalations basically.
Yeah.
And given my background, like I came from support, I knew like how to communicate to the customers and all the process, all the system and stuff. So 50K, I didn't negotiate. As soon as the offer came, I'm like, I just got a 10K bump, like few months ago, a 10K more bump. I'm fine.
Okay.
I didn't like. I think you did a good job of Googling stuff when you signed up for the sysadmin.
Yeah.
For me, it was like
whatever you want to.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm making 50K,
which is a fair sentiment. I think a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, this is a good amount of money.
Yeah, and I wanted to start in cloud, right?
Yeah.
So that mattered more for me than making more money.
Making more money, yeah. And again, that's also a very privileged position that we've both been in. It's like at this point, anything to get the career started. But a lot of career changers or people who already are living with an expectation, like they can't afford to not be making whatever money it is that they need to be
like
making.
Starting from scratch kind of thing.
You brought up 2 points. I feel like I didn't talk about the promotion way for me and why I got to 75K, but I did another more research on, because I around like 9-10 months in, I was like, I'm doing a lot of cloud projects, and that's where I have a video on my channel that talks about the project that I made that to make my case to get a promotion. And I was doing the percentage of stuff that I was doing in Azure started to overcome the stuff that I was doing sysadmin, help desk, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I'm doing more cloud engineering stuff, and I had brought it up to my manager. Yeah, and I was like, hey, I think I deserve a promotion, and I can be more of a dedicated like cloud resource. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And again, it was because he was the one who was like, I'll take care of this. He was the one who was go talk to the CFO, CEO, was like, we should do this. And one day he asked me, how much do you want? Yeah. And again, I was like, I don't know. I'll go find a number. And I tell him I want this much money. And he was like, all right, I'm going to go try to get that much money for you. He didn't say, no, that's too much. He didn't say absolutely nothing like this. I'm going to go and try to give you that much money. Yeah. And it took maybe like a couple of weeks of him like back and forth, like figuring all that kind of stuff out. But then it happened. But again, a lot of that was because he went out and like did it for me. He got it done for me. And again, good managers, like hard to find, but when you do find them, they'll like make a very big impact. And the other thing I wanted to say was, you had mentioned the fact that your sort of advantage was that you knew how the systems work internally. Yeah. And yesterday on the stream, I think we gave that advice to someone else who's like, hey, I want to make like an internal move. Like, what would you like tell us? And like what advice you were saying, and what we were saying is, you have the advantage of, you can go and talk to that team, be like, hey, how does this work? Or give me an overview if that's the kind of environment, which we both had been in. Definitely, again, I was able to build like automation systems at the role because I could go and sit down with someone and be like, hey, you're doing this process manually. How can I go and do this? How can I automate this for you? And then that project itself would save time and money. And I can go to my boss and be like, I deserve a raise because I've been able to do this and I can do this more. So you have the advantage of being on the inside, being able to ask these questions that external candidates don't have. Yeah. So you definitely use that to your favor, which you did, which I did. And this is the advice that we gave that person yesterday. So at your cloud gig, you're making 50K.
At the start, yeah.
At the start. And then did you get any like more raises? Yeah.
So I think they bumped me to 65 after a year and a half, like, performance review stuff.
Okay. It's a good jump.
So that, it was 15K jump, which was pretty good. And yeah, like I do want to like shout out to Vikram. He was the CFO.
Oh, cool.
And he really supported. So as we know, at this point, I'm still on my work permit. But as soon as, I hit like 6-month mark in my support gig, he reached out. He's like, I know that you're on work permit and stuff. Like, do you want to figure out like your residency? And, I'm there to support you. That's, for me, that was a lot, coming from a CFO.
Yeah, of course.
But that's about, that's the good thing about, having smaller companies.
They can do that for you.
Yeah. So he figured that out. But
they helped you out with that?
Yeah. They
awesome.
helped me
That's
out.
life-changing.
Yeah.
Literally.
And they had to like go through like a lot of,
Yeah, absolutely.
You could say like government stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Because it took 18 months to process that.
Yeah, I mean, all that paperwork stuff is just a pain.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm from the U.S. I'm born in the U.S. So I'd never had to deal with that. But my parents, like years ago when I was little, like I remember, I mean, they illegally moved to the U.S. like cross the border and all that kind of stuff. I kind of want to do a podcast with them talking about that because the stories that they have are crazy.
It's crazy, yeah.
Like for like my mom, it took her 3 months. For my dad, it took him like 2 months. But the stuff that they went through, I was just like, it's like a movie, dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, maybe I'll do a YouTube video or something like that. But anyway, there was this really cool dude. His name is Rick and Ron. I remember, I still know them because when I was little, my mom would clean, and my dad would work at their like club as a bartender / like chef and then or cook, and my mom would clean the club and whatnot. So and when we were little, she would take us because we couldn't afford a babysitter or whatnot. And I remember I would play in their like office while my mom was cleaning, and it was just the coolest thing. Like it was like to me, I remember it being like a very luxurious office. But they were examples of people that made so much money but were just kind to everyone.
Yes.
So they helped my parents do the whole process of getting residency in the U.S.
Nice.
Because my mom and my dad would go out of their way to make sure like whatever they needed, like if they needed like an extra, like my mom would clean like a couple of days if we needed extra, my mom would go in. If my dad also is super handy with anything electrical, anything plumbing, just stuff like that. He's a very engineering mindset too. So whenever something needs to be fixed, like they would call my dad. So in exchange, they're like, we'll help you like file this kind of stuff. Which at that time, I didn't know how much of an impact that is. But now I grow up, I'm like, this is just, it's like immigration and residency status in the U.S. is just such a difficult and challenging thing that if you don't have other people go out of their way to help you, like
it's not possible.
I know people who have been dealing with like trying to figure out the residency for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Which is, it's like, it's not uncommon to hear those kinds of situations. So I know like having someone to help you figure that out is like big, but I also know it's like a hurdle for them because I know it was a hurdle for them.
Yeah.
So like that your employer did that for you. I didn't even know that, dude.
Yeah.
That's like,
and it was really like he reached out, on Teams and stuff, and like, I would love to chat. So he like he wanted to see what, my future is at ACI. And like recently the acquisition happened. I told him like I'm interested in cloud. He also, made some moves within the company to, so that I am considered for the role. But yeah, shout out to him for, looking after, because
that's dope, dude.
Things like this matters.
Yeah.
And
it's super cool.
Yeah, so I think within a year at the cloud engineering stuff, so I had my performance review, got the 15K jump, so was making 65K. Shout out to, the entire cloud team. Oh, we were only 3 people.
Yeah.
But the amount of patience they had with me so that I could, onboard and because I remember, so I was on call after like 6 months.
Okay, cool.
And there was an issue like within 3 days of me being on call at 2 a.m. I kept figuring it out till like 3, 4-ish.
Yeah.
And then I started calling people. And they were like persons with family and kids and stuff.
Of course,
so I felt bad, but they were like super kind. They're like, yeah, you're looking at the wrong place, go this. But they did understand that this is, my first time. It'll take time to get used to like where to look at when this is happening or whatever the scenario is. But yeah, shout out to Sean, Eric, and Todd. They were great, great mentors. To this point, like I'm in touch with them, and they made a really good, they were good advocates for me when they were like I was getting this job, and when also I got the jump to like 65K.
That's awesome.
And so I was cloud engineer for 2 years, and then really close to like, I think 18, 19 months.
Yeah.
I think we already discussed. So at this point, this is 2020, almost end of 2020. And I got a, offer from OpenText, and they were willing to pay me like, I think 85.
What role was that?
It was cloud engineer.
Yeah.
The title was senior cloud engineer. So I was expecting that bump.
Yeah,
and at this point now I started, looking up salaries. The thing is, I would have to move from Kingston to, again, this role was in Waterloo. So I remember having, discussions with you, because ECI played a, good part in, me being a cloud engineer and ramping up in all those skills. And at this point, I have like 6 certifications.
Okay.
So I was really excited, and like, making 85K from 65 is like 20K bump is good. And then they also had, relocation stuff. They had, yearly bonuses, because it was
this the startup though? Small?
No, it was pretty big. It's like 15,000 employees.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I might consider the move. But given my relation, with my managers at ECI, I decided to, bring it up and be like, okay, like this is,
you got this offer.
Yeah. And I'm more aligned to, resign and move out.
Okay.
So
I don't remember this. This was like early on in our friendship, right?
Yeah,
that we were talking about
it was
this?
really early. Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember this conversation because I feel like it was one of the conversations that we had where like it helped us develop a deeper friendship.
Yeah, because I was really confused.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
I didn't want to leave such a good team, great mentors again.
Which matters.
Which
people
matters,
don't understand that. I feel like
I was scared to leave.
In tech, we get so focused on salary. Oh, I could leave here and make 50% more. It's like, yeah, but you can go and make so much more money and encounter the worst team ever.
Yeah.
You can also encounter the best team for sure, but it's like, it's more than just the money. And again, it's also a very privileged standpoint to be able to say that. But I just think like, if you go and you make, that's why for me, it's like, I would have to make a significant amount more money to leave where I'm at because I have such a great support system.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And I've had that throughout every role. But like you're saying this now, like it matters. It should be something that people consider.
And at this point, I'm at almost like 3 years at the company, and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
So like,
and you still feel challenged.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
still
great.
feel like challenged, and job was interesting. People were amazing. I have like deep connections.
You're happy.
Yeah, I was happy. So that's why I think it was hard to, bring it up and like resign. But I did end up, resigning. But then shout out Florine. He was my manager during, the cloud gig. It's crazy how I met him. So I was still in support. And when, the acquisition kind of was happening, we had a big event in Kingston. He came from Europe, and there was this like card game we were playing as a group activity, and he was my partner, like randomly chosen. So he asked like what I did at Printfleet and stuff, and he brought that point up in the interview that like, look at you, like 8 months ago I saw you were
playing cards.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You just started in support, and now you want to be in cloud. So but shout out to him. He like really fought, and like they came up with a counter offer to make me stay. I'm like, there were still like a lot of benefits at OpenText that they couldn't match because ECI didn't have any similar benefits. But then they were willing to offer me the same amount of money, also like a bump later. So like if I stayed for 6 months, they'll probably have, because I think our performance reviews were due like in 4 months. So they said you'll anyways get a bump. So we can offer you the same amount of money, plus you'll still get all the benefits of education and stuff. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I talked to you, and I think that's when you had like more deeper conversation. You kind of knew what my thought process was and why I wanted to stay. You were like, it's always tricky because you have already expressed your interest of leaving the company. But yeah, anyways, I decided to stay. I had to like burn some bridges with OpenText.
Absolutely.
And I decided to stay and was happy.
So how much were you making then?
85.
85?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're 85 in your, how many years into your role? Your cloud role?
80K. 2 years, almost 2 years in cloud role.
2 years in your cloud role making 80K. Okay. And then I left that cloud engineer gig, after the total time sysadmin and cloud engineer was a year and a half. So I was only a cloud engineer for like, I guess 6-7 months or so.
Yeah.
But I left at 75K.
Okay.
Yeah. So then you end up leaving, right? After that, or how much longer did you stay?
I stayed another year.
Another year. Did you get another bump?
Yeah. So the bump was not based out of performance, but they were reevaluated. So as I told, like we were only 3 cloud engineers. Then it became 2 because one of my colleagues left, and they were restructuring the teams. And they saw like how much IAC stuff or like GitOps stuff I was doing.
Yeah.
And same thing with my colleague. So they were like, stop managing like cloud infrastructure.
Okay.
Get into DevOps. So there was this new DevOps team that they were building at ECI. Majority of the folks were from like other companies, because I think ECI is like good at doing acquisitions.
Yeah.
So moved into DevOps, and now like I was making $90K.
Okay.
A year, like a $10K bump. With
interesting. You have a lot of moves within that same company.
Yeah. So I spent 4 years.
Total.
1 year was as technical support, and then 2 years as cloud engineer, and then last year was DevOps.
Okay. And you so when you left, you were making 90?
Yeah.
90K. Okay. All right. Cool. So, and I feel like another episode we can do is more talk about the tasks and stuff that we did at each role too. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because it is really different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. So after my cloud engineer gig, that's when I started YouTube around that time. That's when I became an Azure MVP, and there was a lot of going on. And then I had started getting people hit up about like, hey, I have this Azure thing, like I need help with it. I need some consulting, whatnot. So I started doing that. So I had become unhappy at my role with the company itself, and because they acquired and then became much bigger. I think there was a couple hundred people compared, and like that environment of very tight knit, very small, can only exist for so long because companies want to get acquired or companies want to go public and all that kind of stuff, and that's just business. So you have to make the most out of what works for you when it works for you.
Yeah.
So my manager became like super busy because he had more people to manage and more things to do, and then just that environment that I was used to, like being able to talk whenever to whoever what I wanted, it just kind of like went away. But I was like, all right, I sort of outgrew it anyway. So then I was like kind of like doing my own thing for a couple of months. Maybe I think I left the cloud gig like in June or July.
Yeah.
I think in July. So then July, August, September, and October, those months were like, I look back at it and I was like, I'm so grateful that I did that because it gave me so much time to like collaborate with other technical creators. I was a big part of Serverless September that year. I met a bunch of people. Microsoft made a bunch of videos. I did some consulting work, but it wasn't like the majority of my time, but it was making money, like a couple grand a month, enough for me to like pay my bills and whatnot. So I can't really quantify that in
like a salary.
Like a salary. Yeah. But then I joined ACG in November, I think. Yeah. And
I think that
November
seems right.
I'm trying to remember ACG. I think I signed on for, which I was surprised how much money I was a community training architect. I think that was my role. I want to say $94K.
Okay.
With a sign-on bonus of like a couple grand, maybe like $4 grand.
That's pretty good.
But then the perks are like really great health benefits, really great. Like they would send you like snack boxes every month, like just a bunch of random, really
perks.
Cool. They would pay for your internet, stuff like that. All the equipment you needed, you would get. It was fantastic, like just perks and such. And $94K for. Essentially, I was creating YouTube videos for them. Yeah, which was it was great, really freaking cool gig. I had my issues with them that we probably just discuss in a different podcast, but in a different episode. But yeah, I was only with them for 7 months maybe.
Yeah,
I left in May. Yeah, May. So I started November 2021. 2020, and I left in May 2021. So like 6 months essentially, but no bumps there. 90 like that was just like the salary that I got.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I think the next bump was significant because it was Google. So after, being at ECI for almost 4 years now, and like not 1 year complete, but 10 months in as a DevOps engineer, again, was loving the job. But 2021 was also the year where I was interviewing back to back.
It was like a whole year of interviewing.
Yeah. And it was good because I needed to develop that skill. I know you are great at interviewing, but I haven't interviewed so like, as you can see, I'm staying at the same company, right?
Yeah.
And the interviews.
So you're more comfortable naturally because
because I knew them, right? And having sparking a conversation was easier because I also knew the systems.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go out, different companies operate differently, and starting having a good technical conversation is tough if you don't have, the expertise and the exposure about a specific technology. So it was hard. And 2021 is also the year when I think I started taking seriously technical content that I created, and started doing YouTube pretty serious, and had time and a good work-life balance with ECI that I could spend time on learning new skills.
Yeah.
So Terraform, I started exploring Azure, somewhat GCP, not a lot. Started collaborating on stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, somehow I interviewed for Google in June, got rejected. I interviewed for a different role in December, got accepted, and the bump. So the overall, there's a term TC, and I didn't know
total comp.
Yeah. Because it's different from, since I was at ECI, you didn't get, stocks and stuff. It was just salary, base salary. That's it. So Google offered around, I want to say 140K, including everything.
Total?
Yeah, total comp was 140.
Okay.
It was, I think, 135 to 140.
Okay.
And that included I got really good relocation stuff. I got, so the base salary was around same as ECI.
Okay.
So I was making 96, so a 6K bump in base.
Okay.
And 10K I think was the relocation bonus after taxes and stuff, so it was really good. But then the stocks were, it's weird how Google does stocks. So you get 33% in the year 1, 33 in the second, and then it goes down year 4, year 3, and year 4.
Okay.
But yeah, I think roughly around that. So
Okay.
20K stocks, if I'm doing the math right. Yeah. So that was my year 1 comp.
Oh, you're dividing it for just the 1 year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So you say 140 TC?
Yeah, 135.
Oh, 135. Okay. I forgot to say, so for ACG, I did negotiate. I said I wanted at least, I'm pretty sure I was 85, and they came back with 94.
I did negotiate for Google.
The interview process was, I mean, I had already a very established YouTube, so they were because I think they make you submit a YouTube video or submit a video where you're explaining a technical content. I didn't have to do that. They just grabbed I had literally view any of my videos. You'll have an idea for how I explain these kinds of things. So I think it was a couple of rounds. But then, and I remember the last round there was 2 people, and I had to they tell us pick a technical concept. I was serverless, and explain it to us in 60 seconds, and I did. And then I got everything, got an offer and whatnot. But yeah, after ACG, I joined Microsoft. I have to add, I can't remember my base salary, but I think total was, I have to divide. Hold on, I have to do that. I have to do the math. So let's see, because I have to divide the stocks by the years, right?
Also look up
plus
how much was the initial offer at Google.
Yeah. Okay, so TC 170K for the first year. Oh wait, did I put in, I don't think I put in the, hold on,
the sign-on bonus.
Yeah. Which was, I can't remember. Oh my goodness, I should have looked at that. I think it was this much. And then how dude, I can't remember how much the sign-on bonus was. But yeah, I guess for big tech, I guess larger tech companies, you typically will have your base salary, stocks, a sign-on bonus, and then if you need relocation, they will also give you that if that's something that they're offering.
Yeah.
I got all of those actually. So I'm trying to remember. Let me see. So divide by 4, and then this plus that plus this plus base salary. I think there we go. Okay, 185 total.
185.
85. Yeah, I forgot to add the signing bonus.
That's
TC.
double than ACG.
Yeah. I mean, but it's total comp. So it's not.
But it's still money in the bank.
Oh
right?
no, no. I went from
94K,
94
right?
to I think the base was 145. Base salary.
That's significant.
Yeah. I also was like, I remember saying I don't want to make anything less than this number, and I can't remember what I told them. I might have told them maybe like 120, 130.
Did you negotiate your Microsoft offer?
Yes. They came back initially with less salary, no relocation, and
no relocation. That's weird.
Yeah, but and then I was like, they gave me the max salary, and then gave me relocation money, and I think the bonus stayed the same. I was pretty, and the stocks were happy. So I was just like, increase the salary, give me, and pay for the move, and I'm good with that because I had moved from Connecticut to New York, to New York for the role. Yeah, and then I got promoted.
Oh yeah.
Back in May before build, and I think total was 12% increase salary.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm gonna have my rewards conversation on Tuesday. So that's where they tell you how much your annual bonus is and whatever comes for the promotion too. I don't really know what that looks like yet, but I'll know that on Tuesday. So for now, the only thing I know is that the salary was either 11 or 12%.
That's pretty good.
Which is pretty decent.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I was already significantly happy with how much I was making. I wasn't expecting a promotion in the first place. So it was nice to get that too. But that's where I'm at now.
Nice.
In terms of like total, I guess.
Comp.
Yeah, total comp. I guess salary from like work itself, but then I have other income sources and whatnot. But this is just tech salaries. Where are you at now? Because you're making more at Twilio.
Yeah. So for Google, so the total comp initially, I'm looking at my phone by the way, was 116K.
What for what the total
for Google?
comp?
Yeah, for total comp.
Okay.
And I was able to negotiate it to be 135, so like 20K. So
Good
yeah.
job.
But yeah, this is the first role that I negotiated. I did ask for more, I think, and they got back saying, okay, we cannot do this, and this is the maximum we could do. So I ended up accepting that, and unfortunately, I left Google within 4 months.
Yeah, I mean,
so
not unfortunately, I think fortunately.
Yeah, but like my TC went down because I didn't get any stocks.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So only like base, which was again like really close to what I was making at ECI.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Twilio's offer was interesting. So I had I was going to have conversations about salary with another company. I didn't because of the offer that Twilio offered me was pretty good. So shout out to the recruiter.
Yeah. Yeah, when you told me, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that from Twilio, but.
Yeah. So the base was 160K, which is significant.
It's already more than the TC at Google.
Exactly. And it was more than, the base I was making at Google.
Yeah.
And the stocks are kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like how they did it. But I think for a year, it's close to 90K in stocks. So the total comp came out to like 250.
Yeah.
Which is good. From, 130K at Google.
Should we do, how much is that in USD?
Yeah. 250
CAD to USD for the audience who 192,418
Okay.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So that's where you're at now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where he's at now. Okay. So I guess another thing is like the TC will fluctuate depending on the stock market too.
It's low now.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's why I was like, I don't know if I should say the number that was on the offer.
Yeah, that's true. We should have said that differently. Okay. Yeah, because that's why I like to give ranges with TC. So I could say, instead of saying like 187, I could say within like 160 to like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
190 or stuff like that.
Yeah, that too. Like if I add it up now, it should, like the total comp will come around to, what did you say, 190K USD?
Yeah.
So I would say 160 to 170K.
Yeah,
right now.
Range. Yeah.
So yeah, in USD.
Yeah, so because the stock market is,
the
price of the stock will fluctuate with the market as well. So really, the only thing that is the same is the salary,
the base. Yeah.
Yeah, the base. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
But Twilio has so I wanted to reflect on going from a small, medium-sized business to big tech is. Google had great perks, so I was like really, really amazed at how many perks you get
at Google.
Yeah, like apart from just the regular like health insurance and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, there's a big difference, working at a smaller company.
Yeah.
And big tech.
Yeah.
Because all of these things adds up. Like they were willing to pay for tuition if I wanted to, go to college. Same thing as with Twilio.
Mm-hmm.
We get. Like you said, ACG had really cool perks.
Yeah.
So Twilio pays for internet. They pay for gym stuff. They also have like a book club thing where you get like a monthly credit to buy a book, which is pretty good. But they like all of these things add up. Yeah,
I've totally forgot about that. We have funds as well for like anything.
Yeah,
you have to go and find what you need because they don't give everything default. It's more like because some people don't need like.
Things, they don't pay like directly into your account.
But there's even things like, they'll like reimburse you or whatnot. But there's even things like, for example, we get, I can't remember how many sessions with Talkspace, which is therapy, which is what I use for therapy.
Yeah.
But that would have ended up being like a couple $100s a month. That is essentially free because they pay for that.
Yeah, Twilio has something similar.
Headspace subscriptions. We get discounts to like bunch of different places, free Game Pass.
That's
we have a fund that there's like, it used to be like a wellness fund, but now it's more so like you can use it towards any kind of hobby thing, or if you want to use it to pay for the gym and whatnot. There's a yearly fund for that.
Yeah,
there's so much. That's it's crazy. Like I feel like I'm missing out because I'm not really looking.
Yeah, because everything. You don't. Yeah, look it up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I use mine. So I play in like soccer and volleyball in summers, and then volleyball in winters. So I use my wellness fund there.
Yeah,
which is good because otherwise, like before, I was paying it out of pocket, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the only thing I miss about Google is the campus. And the food. The food was really good.
Yeah, like our New York City office doesn't have food like meals like a cafeteria, but they have like free drinks, snacks,
nice
coffee.
So like a mini kitchen,
iced coffee. Yeah, they do have that. And there's like the other day I discovered there's a massage chair rooms. So
Google had that too.
Literally just
it's good too.
It's a nice dark room with a massage chair that you can book. There's also like treadmill desks.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
It's interesting because it's like you have a full setup there and then there's a treadmill so you can walk. Walking desks, I guess. I don't really think anyone should run on those, but you can walk as you're working, which I think was cool. And I guess just having like the space itself is like cool because like, I mean, I have more space here now, but every now and then just changing up the environment is pretty cool. And I didn't have that ACG because it was full remote. I didn't have that. And then when COVID hit, obviously the where I was a sysadmin and cloud engineer, like everyone was full remote again too. So now being able to go into an office, I think is pretty significant. Even though none of my team is based here, I do have colleagues who are based in New York that are like at Microsoft, but not necessarily on my team. So every now and then we co-work, but there's also space like you and I can like, you're going to go in as a guest with me.
Yeah.
And we're going to go work on like prepare the talk for the Reactor event and whatnot, that kind of stuff. So we have like space to work out of there too. When other colleagues come in from like other parts of the country or other countries, they like were like, let's meet up at the New York City office. I think that's cool too.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So anyway, I think we're probably like really long. We're like an hour 20.
Oh, okay.
So that's it for this episode. I don't have any shout outs or any questions or anything like that.
Yeah, I think we have been, disconnected from
we have been disconnected. But anyway, that was this episode. We might do another one in person too.
Yeah.
Maybe like a couple of days. So you should get another episode in person. And that's it. We're good.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.